up in a hurry. Okay, so hopefully I can make it through this meeting.
No problem. No problem. Yeah, to be honest, I kind of feel that we should allow more remote meetings. So don't feel compelled to have to be in person.
Okay, all right.
Okay, Ken, thank you for
yeah.
joining us. Do you want to just quickly introduce yourself and then the project, and we can have a discussion?
Absolutely. Good evening, Councilmember Tanaka. Thank you for meeting this evening. My name is Ken Hayes with Hayes Group Architects, and I represent RLD Land, Richard Dewey, the owner of 2901 Middlefield, and this is regarding agenda item 7 for tomorrow's city council hearing. Okay.
That's good. Yep. Do you want to introduce the topic?
Yeah, so this is regarding an amendment to PC 2343, which allowed a 12-unit apartment building, which is called 2901 Middlefield, to be constructed with guest parking provided on the adjacent parcel, which is called 702 Ellsworth. At the time, an easement was created as part of the PC across the 702 parcel to access homes further down Ellsworth Place, which is a private street. As you know, we had a pre-screening in March. I think you and I had a Zoom call back then. This amendment has to do with the city mapping error, having never recorded PC 2343 when it was created in 1967, 56 years ago. So the parcel reports and the city zoning maps, which were updated in 2019, never showed PC 2343 and instead showed the zoning as RMD 20 for the apartment parcel and R1 for the 702 parcel. Discussions with city senior planners and managers also confirmed R1 zoning and said we could build a single family home. And as you know, I have a lot of experience in Palo Alto, and I drilled down as far as I could with the planning managers and so on to get that information. The property was sold then by my client. The property, meaning 702 Ellsworth, was sold by my client and purchased by Nitin Handa. When Nitin Handa submitted plans for a building permit to build a single family one-story house, the zoning error was uncovered by the city, and he was told that he could not build on the land that he had purchased from my client. Since the city council pre-screening, we've met with the neighbors and we've had 3 PTC hearings. It appears that the neighbors' main concerns that we can address are public safety at the intersection of Ellsworth and Middlefield by widening the 20-foot access easement to 24 feet and by providing a sight triangle for visibility and providing a parking place on 2901 Middlefield for the parking of delivery trucks so they can park off of Ellsworth and not block traffic on Ellsworth, which everybody on Ellsworth benefits from. The PTC supported the development plan conceptually, but made a recommendation to City Council that you've probably reviewed that specifies a 26-foot easement instead of a 24-foot easement that we had proposed. Our transportation consultant, Hexagon Transportation, determined and it was confirmed by the city of Palo Alto Transportation that the existing 20-foot easement is safe and compliant with city standards. The PTC also reduced the height of vertical obstructions in what is called the sight triangle, which is a city standard obstructions that can be 36-inch tall. They reduced it down to 12 inches tall on the 702 parcel. The sight triangle is a 35 by 35 foot right triangle that is measured from the face of curb into the property and then from the drive aisle south or north on Middlefield. Okay. And so this primarily affects the 702 parcel because the 12-inch height. So we don't support the 26-foot easement, and as it's also problematic with existing utilities. And the city staff and our attorneys have determined that there's no essential nexus, and this would be considered an exaction potentially of property. So staff's draft motion. So then staff developed their own motion in the staff report, which is different than PTC's. And the staff's motion supports our 24-foot easement, which is a voluntary dedication by my client and by Mr. Handa of easements for both parcels benefiting the Ellsworth neighbors. We also, getting back to the site triangle, we don't support the modified height of the site triangle because the site triangle has been mocked up on site. I don't know if we've had an opportunity to go out to the site. The PTC asked us to mock all this up out on the site, right, at 702 Ellsworth, and it's been in front for about a month now. The effect of reducing any obstruction other than trees within the site triangle to 12 inches effectively eliminates the possibility for the 702 Ellsworth home to have an effective rear yard that is private. Most homes enjoy a 5 or 6 foot tall good neighbor fence. Our backyard faces Middlefield, and that's where they've imposed this 12-inch height limitation. We ask that we at least are able to build the fence to 36 inches, which is the standard for site triangles within the city.
Actually, can I ask you a quick question? So your client sold the property, right, to Mr. Honda, right?
Right.
So why are you still involved in the project?
Good question. So I had done the studies for RLD land, Rich Dewey. And so when he was notified back in January that Nitin Handa was sort of rejected at the city's building permit counter, he asked me to figure out what was going on. And so we've stayed involved since then.
Even though you guys aren't owners of the property anymore.
Correct. Well, I think this is probably, this is certainly a way of trying to mitigate what potential impacts might result from Nitin Handa not being able to build on a piece of land that he bought from my client, right? So yes, so Rich Dewey is kind of handling this on behalf of himself and then sort of voluntarily on Mr. Handa. Mr. Handa will also make some remarks tomorrow. So, I'm in close contact with Mr. Handa. I'm kind of playing the middle guy, I guess, on this. But so that's why RLD Land's involved. That's why I'm still involved, trying to sort through this. So the big issue on the, I really think the 24-foot
Can
easement is
you
sufficient.
can you share your screen? Can we just look at the site map?
Absolutely. Yeah. Let me, where? Interesting. I'm not able to share my whole. Wow, this is really weird. Let me. I'm just going to share my desktop.
Sure.
Let me find. Interesting. So I don't need to waste time on those slides. This is the slide that shows the R1 zoning for the 702 parcel, the RM20 for the 2901 parcel. Existing conditions as they are right now.
Yeah.
But I do have, so this is the development plan for 2901. So we're providing, the guest parking is currently over here.
Yeah.
We are providing, because parking has been reduced for apartments, we're now providing all the parking on this parcel. The new spaces are shown in red. The delivery truck space is shown in green. This is the site triangle. This is the site triangle. This is the one that has the 12.
Can you zoom in a little bit more, please?
Yeah. Well, actually, let me go to this slide.
Oh, much better. Okay.
Yeah. So this is the end result. All right. So there's two options here. The 24-foot easement option, which is our voluntary, option, which provides for a 30-inch easement on 2901 from this point all the way back to where there's a telephone pole or guy wires for a telephone pole. And on the 702 parcel, 18 inches all the way back to where Nitin Handa's sidewalk comes into his building, which is about 42 feet back. That proposal requires us to relocate this utility vault in blue, which is a fiber optics monument. And so we're willing to relocate that to here. But once the city planning commission said we want another 12 inches on each side, that comes in, brings other utility vaults, which is this one here, which is underground. We're like 12 inches away from that. And these are more utility monuments, not as much of an issue. On this side, there's a city fire hydrant right here where my cursor is. Currently, we're 5'6" away from that fire hydrant at the curb cut. Increasing it another 12 inches brings us to 4.5 feet from that.
Where your mouse is, that's Middlefield, right?
This is Middlefield here. Yeah, I'm sorry. Middlefield's right here. Ellsworth's here. And the fire department likes to have 10 feet. We talked to Carl Schneider and he prefers 10 feet, but again, relocating these utilities is just a monumental expense that's not relative to what we're.
So why can't the front of the house be here?
So this is the front yard by I'm sorry, this is the front yard here where you've drawn the circle.
Okay, so this is the front yard. Okay, but I don't understand what you were saying about the rear yard facing Middlefield.
So the front yard is here, but it's acting like a rear yard. All right, so the rear yard's here, and this is a driveway to a detached garage. And a detached garage can be in the rear yard. The real rear yard is here. And then this is a side setback of 6 feet here. Okay. And then because of Ellsworth Place, this is considered a side as well. The way the house is oriented, the driveway needed to be back here. You don't want a driveway right when you pull in off the street. And so this was the logical place for a living room and so on, located here. Kitchen, all that stuff is down, or is also in this area, bedrooms and things along here.
So, at the last meeting, people talked about doing like a 2-story. What if this was a 2-story?
Yeah, a 2-story doesn't work for Nitin Handa, and the building, the house is so small to begin with that adding a stair and an additional hallway upstairs probably takes another 150 square feet out of the house. The house is 1,690 square feet right now, so it's not a big house by Palo Alto standards at all. More importantly, it was not something that Nitin Handa had wanted on the site. So that was a non-starter for Nitin. The site triangle that's mocked up, or these easements that are mocked up, I have photographs of. So this is what's out in the field right now. This is a photograph looking from Ellsworth towards Middlefield. On the right, you can see that utility monument that will need to be relocated. The existing 20-foot easement is denoted by this white line here. Right here, the dashed line, and the dashed line here. The blue line is our 18-inch additional easement on the 702 side. The blue line, the blue flags over here are the 30-inch easement on the 2901 side. The orange fence is the additional 12 inches on the 702 side, and that fence is built 3 feet high as the site triangle requirements in Palo Alto permit. Sure. And then this view in the middle is looking back, obviously the other way. This is a blow up here of this utility vault or monument. So you can see the blue comes right through here. This is the curb flare. So that will need to be relocated.
Can I ask you another question?
Yeah.
What about just doing a rooftop garden?
A rooftop garden?
Instead of a backyard, you have an upyard. Because that's what I have actually. I have a.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, cool. I have a rooftop deck. What about that? So like, what if he doesn't want to do a second story, but what if his backyard's on the roof?
Yeah. Well, is that your only backyard, or do you have other ground floor space?
It's essentially my backyard. Yeah.
Yeah. You have a 2-story home?
No, it's a single story.
Single story home. Yeah, interesting. Had not been considered, that would be something that Nitin Handa would need to respond to. I think if that's, if that's of interest to you to hear what the answer might be on
I'm just
that.
trying to think of how to make this work, right?
Right.
So,
Well,
yeah.
I appreciate that, but so what they've already asked for, Planning Commission, is that this fence be set back 4 feet from the back of sidewalk, which is 2 feet from the property line inward. All right. So he's losing 2 feet of his yard. And we honestly, these are views from a car. Here's the mirror headed towards Middlefield. We honestly don't think there's a visibility issue at all. And it's just being exaggerated. And here, as you get closer, the street rises up, and that provides even more. This is before the rise, these two photos. You can see the pedestrian, you can see a car across Middlefield, and this is as you come in. So honestly, there's nothing, in my opinion, that should warrant a requirement to reduce the height of that. And that'll give him some sense of privacy in that, in that yard. If he wanted to do something on the roof, that's really up to him. The neighbors may not like that. I don't know, in terms of privacy in their yards, right? So anyway, that's where we're going to be coming from. And we support staff's amended language on the 24-foot easement that can be easily achieved, and we're willing to do that voluntarily. It's not going to involve, as we can tell, any more utility relocations except this one monument here. Okay. And so we know we can get that done. With regard to the 12-inch high fence, I think it's ridiculous, but that's something that I guess Nitin Handa is going to chime in on as well at the hearing. So any other questions that you?
No, that's it.
Okay. And I think our agenda item is at 5:30 tomorrow. So that's when I'll be tuning in, I guess. Okay.
Sounds good. Yeah,
All right.
thank you for joining. Appreciate it.
Okay. I appreciate your time. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.